Hello, everybody. This is Bill Stack College Football Guy. Another video. Time for the state of the Big Ten. Oh boy. Well, Big Ten was actually easy compared to everybody else because it's an 18-team conference. Just like I did with the ACC predictions you saw yesterday, 9 schools have a winning record because it's a 9-game conference schedule. 9 schools have a winning record. 9 schools do not. And the fact is, you have 3 schools at 2 and 3. Are they going to be able to make up 3 games with 4 remaining on everybody above them? Odds are probably not. This isn't about the overall health of the conference. This isn't about any scandals or anything. I don't care about that. This is about simply fact who odds are favorite, who based upon what the schedule's left, who do we think is going to be the two facing each other for the Big Ten Championship. And we're going to run through it all here. So, shall we get into it? First off, Indiana and Oregon both tied at 5-0 in first place. Penn State's 4-0. Ohio State's 3-1. Then we have Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin all at 3-2. So they all technically have a shot at it. That means that we have a bunch of schools, 9 who are not. Nebraska, Michigan State, and Washington are all 2-3 in conference. USC's 2-4. Northwestern, UCLA, Maryland, and Rutgers are 1-4. And Purdue is 0-4, so they're out of the championship picture because there's just too much they'd have to overcome to make it to the conference championship game. So we're going to go through the schedules, the remaining conference schedules of everybody who's left, and we're going to go through and say, okay, who's got a shot at doing this? So look at Indiana. Now, top 5 schools in the conference, we got Indiana, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, because technically 5th place is a tie between Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. So the top 9 are technically all tied for 5th. So you have any of those battles, it's going to be a tough battle here. So Indiana's remaining schedule, is at Michigan State, home against Michigan, at Ohio State, and home against Purdue. So Purdue is the only game of the 4 remaining games they have. 2 of the 4 against teams that are potentially could win the championship. If you only want to do it the 3-1, the fact is though there's 2 games being made up here. Indiana and Oregon are in the high seat, and Ohio State's technically could be on the way back, but they got an extra game they can play. So this isn't over yet. Are the 3-2 schools possibly out of it? Yeah, possibly, but they're still mathematically a chance. So of the schools on there, Indiana's facing 2 of those games there. So how's that going to go? Okay, Oregon's remaining schedule. They're at Michigan, home against Maryland, at Wisconsin, and home against Washington. So they have 2 out of 4, but both of those 2 are on the road. Indiana's got split, but they're at Ohio State and home against Michigan. So that's going to be an interesting situation there. Penn State, 4-0. They got 5 games remaining. They're home against Ohio State. They're home against Washington. They're at Purdue. They're at Minnesota and finish the season at home against Maryland. So 2 of the games of their 5 remaining, 2 of their games remaining are against schools that are battling for the championship here, referring to Ohio State and Minnesota. But it's going to be interesting to see how they make up the ground here. Ohio State, 3-1. They got 5 left. They're at Penn State, home against Purdue, at Northwestern, home against Indiana, and home against Michigan. Tell me Ohio State's out of it. Penn State game and Indiana game. Michigan's still there. They lose to Michigan. Oh boy. I'm wow. All right. Okay. Now we got the battle of all the 3-2s, don't we? Illinois is 3-2. All these schools have 4 games left. Illinois got home against Minnesota, home against Michigan State, at Rutgers, at Northwestern. Rutgers is going to be a game that's going to be a team that's going to spoil some seasons here, folks. So Illinois, 2 out of 4. Actually, correct myself, 1 out of 4. The Minnesota game. So that's the only one. They're 3-2, the same as they are. Everybody else on the schedule, that's less of a record, so that's easier for them. Iowa, also 3-2. They have home against Wisconsin, at UCLA, so they're traveling cross country, at Maryland, and finish at home against Nebraska. So that's only 1 game, and that's against Wisconsin. So that could make things interesting there. Michigan, 3-2. Oh boy, the hardest schedule And the first school, I think, that will be eliminated from the championship picture. Home against Oregon, at Indiana, home against Northwestern, and then at Ohio State. And Northwestern is a trap game in between the two. So, yeah, Michigan, I'm sorry. This is where you're out of the championship picture real quick. Minnesota's 3-2. They're at Illinois, at Rutgers, home against Penn State, and then at Wisconsin. That's brutal. I don't see how they're going to be able to get into it. Wisconsin is at Iowa, home against Oregon, at Nebraska, and then home against Minnesota. Could Iowa? So basically, jeez, I mean, Wisconsin's got a tough one too. So who's got the inside track? Indiana's at home against Michigan and on the road at Ohio State. Odds are they're losing one of those games. At Michigan State, home against Purdue. Purdue's done some strange things right now. Purdue is terrible right now, but it would be the Purdue thing to do to beat Indiana just to mess their season up, wouldn't it? Oregon has Michigan and Wisconsin, Maryland at home. I mean, those two games, Michigan on the road, Wisconsin on the road, neither one of them is going to be easy. That's interesting how that goes. Penn State's got Ohio State, Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland. That Purdue game trapped between Washington and Minnesota. Hopefully they don't overlook it. Maryland at the end of the year. Ohio State's got this. Wow, this is one's tough. Because you can see Indiana catching a loss with Ohio State. Could Oregon catch a loss? Odds are, the way this looks right now, probably not. Penn State could catch a loss with Ohio State. Ohio State, inside track, but they could catch a loss to Penn State. I mean, this is... and if Penn State loses another game, they're most likely out of the championship picture. So... we're going to find out if Indiana's for real or not in that game against Ohio State. Because if they can beat Ohio State at the shoot, they're in. Playing Oregon. Because I don't see how Oregon doesn't make it. It's like right now I'm like, is there any way the 3-2 schools can move up? And I'm like, with their head-to-head losses, Oregon's lost to Illinois. They can't make that up. And everybody else, I don't see a way that any of these 3-2 schools are going to make it. So it's basically, it's Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, and Indiana. And that Ohio State, Penn State game and the Ohio State, Indiana game. So that's going to determine this. Ohio State's playing both of those schools. And they got the rivalry game against Michigan. Ohio State can't lose another game. If they lose one more game, I don't think they're in the conference championship game. So, this is going to be big for them. So, I don't know. It's the first one I'm done where I really don't know. So, you know what? Why don't you let me know down in the comments? Who do you think is going to be battling for the Big Ten Championship? Because I honestly don't know. Realistically, it's the top four between Indiana, Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State. Why don't you let me know in the comments? Because this one's tough. Because like I said, Ohio State is going to determine this because they got Indiana and they got Penn State. They lose one of those two, they're out of the picture. They beat them both. It's Ohio State or Oregon. So I just don't see how Oregon could slip up. But at Wisconsin could be tricky. And the Washington, how Washington has had a bad year, but they give Oregon an L to end the season. Ooh, wow. Well, why don't you let me know what you think about all this down in the comments. So thanks everybody for watching the video. If you haven't done it already, do me the favor. Smash the like button. Hit the thumbs up. It helps the algorithm. Helps YouTube to know, hey, people like this video. We need to promote it more. Really would appreciate that. Comment on the video. Who do you think is going to go? Is there a dark horse here that I'm not considering? Let me know in the comments. Share the video if you want to. And if you haven't done it already, do me the favor. Check out some of the other videos I've done. And if you have, hey, subscribe to the channel. You know, if you like them, subscribe. I really would appreciate it. Share this video if you want to. If you haven't, if you want to. If you want to follow me on the craziness that is Twitter, that is X, the link will be in the description. This is the one I'm looking at it going like, I honestly don't know who's going to go. So I'm going to let you all let me know in the comments. So thanks everybody for watching. Hope everybody's having a great day. Big 12 is tomorrow. State of that. See what we say. So thanks everybody for watching. Be safe out there and please be good to each other.